Hi guys, the JazzieNerd here, and Mitch is going to be texting me back any minute, so let's get this over with. So, I need to update you guys on how my meeting with my professor went, because I was supposed to put that up yesterday, and I forgot, or I didn't forget, but basically something came up, so I didn't have any time. Anyway, so how the meeting actually went. So, I went to her office, we talked, and it actually went better than I could have imagined. I asked her a couple things I was worried about, like, for example, the fact that the meltdown that I had in her office after the exam contributed to my poor grade, and she said that it actually worked in my favor, because apparently I would have gotten a much, much worse grade if it had not been for that very obvious display of how completely and utterly stressed out I was. So yeah, there's that. Which is really actually a bizarre experience. I never thought I would be glad to have had a panic attack before. Go figure. And so, I had been rehearsing what I was going to say all weekend, and so also, I should probably get to the most important thing first. I am not challenging the grade. I thought it through, before I even got to the meeting, I thought it through, and I realized that the only argument I had was unclear guidelines on the syllabus. The only thing I had to go on, well, there were guidelines on the syllabus, they weren't labeled final presentation guidelines, so I decided how I was going to present my only guideline being present your paper, and that is what I did. The problem with that is that every other person in the entire class of 20-odd students figured it out except for me. Therefore, I have no case. Therefore, going ahead with the grade challenge would just waste a lot of my time, and a lot of whoever deals with those things' time, and probably just end up making me feel bad all over again when I inevitably lost. So challenge, not happening. But, as I was saying, I rehearsed what I was going to say in the meeting all weekend, and I had actually really gotten around to thinking about it by that point, thinking about, what did I actually lose from this, and the answer is nothing except a little pride. I lost nothing, because I learned a lesson. I finally got it through my head that grades are not worth panicking over. And the massive mistake that finally taught me that happened in front of, 20-odd of my classmates who were more concerned with their own papers anyway. Better to have it happen then than when during a job interview or a sales pitch, right? Seriously. And, sure, there was a small matter that I kind of lost a scholarship last semester, but, I would have lost the scholarship even if I had rocked the final presentation, gotten an A in her class. I got a C in creative writing, and there was really nothing I could have done about that because I waited too long to get some help. Mistake I won't be making again. I did not realize that the Writing Center would be closed during finals week, although I probably should have, because the people who work in the Writing Center are all students. They had finals of their own to study for. Anyway, so the biggest thing that happened in that meeting that made me feel really, really good, though, is I was thinking I had really built up what this paper would represent. I had this idea of, bringing attention to Pokemon and have you realize that, this isn't just a kid's franchise that is not worth our time, and this is not something that died out in 2001, because a lot of the sources that I looked at treated it like a craze that had died out in 2001, which it most definitely is not. And, I had played it up in my head, and I finally realized that was idiotic, because the place to bring attention to Pokemon and show off that it is something that this scholarly community should be interested in is not in front of 20-odd 20-somethings who don't care. So I had this idea of making some revisions to my paper and submitting it for publication at a professional level. And I was terrified that she was going to shoot the idea down. I was terrified. And so at the end of our meeting, I started to pitch it to her. And I was starting to pitch it to, say what my thought process had been with coming up with this idea. And she brought it up before I got the chance to even mention it. Pretty sweet. What she did say is that I probably should not look for publication in a religious studies journal. I should look for publication something that is more dealing with pop culture, which actually kind of makes sense to me because I've had that video game analysis going already in my head. I mean, I analyze video games the way I analyze literature for my English classes. I seriously do. I've written stuff before, looking at just little for fun bits, analyzing things like I did a compare and contrast between how the NPC characters perceive the player, the hero, the player character's age in Pokemon compared to how they do in Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, where that stupid sage guy at the Temple of Time basically says, "Oh, what's that, Link? You're the hero of time, doesn't it save the world? Sorry, but you have to grow up first." Seriously, that's so stupid. Anyway, I do that. I wrote a bit analyzing how the gradual degradation in quality of video game artificial intelligence, particularly Skyrim, reflects human nature. Because as you get to the point where you can do more and more stuff in games, the ability of programmers to account for all the crazy things gamers do in games goes down. Seriously, I gotta write a paper just on that. Anyway, I'm rambling now, and that was what got me in trouble with the final presentation, so I need to stop doing that. Anyway, I'll see you guys back here. Hopefully I got my point across this time, unlike what happened there. Anyway, I'll see you guys back here, I guess, this weekend. Until then, stay jazzy.